The 2022 MLB Hall of Fame inductees are going to be announced in January, and in this video I'm going to break down the players that I would vote for if I had a vote in the election process. There are a total of 30 players on this year's ballot, with 17 players returning and 13 players making their first appearance on the ballot. In case you don't know, in order for a player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, they need to receive 75% of total votes from voters in order to be elected into the Hall. A player is only eligible for 10 years, and if they're not inducted into the Hall of Fame after those 10 years, they will be removed from the ballot the following year. Players on the ballot this year are as followed: Curt Schilling, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Scott Rowland, Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, Todd Helton, Gary Sheffield, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, Manny Ramirez, Sammy Sosa, Andy Pettitte, Mark Buehrle, Tory Hunter, Bobby Abreu, Tim Hudson, Alex Rodriguez, Carl Crawford, David Ortiz, Prince Fielder, Justin Morneau, AJ Pierzynski, Mark Teixeira, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, Jake Peavy, Joe Nathan, Tim Lincecum, and Jonathan Papelbon. Now, if I had a vote, let's pretend that I had a vote for this year's Hall of Fame inductee ballot. These are the players that I would vote for. Now, just as a disclaimer, this is in no order at all of who I would vote for number one and who I'd vote for the last. A vote is a vote. There is no point in putting it in order because it does not matter. So number one would be Curt Schilling. He is on the 10th year of his ballot run, and he received 71.1% of total votes last year, and I do believe this is the year that he does get in. The only thing that I can think of that has hindered him for so long is he only has 216 wins in his career, but the amount of playoff performances he's had, the rings that he has in the championships, he has a 3.46 ERA, which is fairly good, and I really do believe this is the year Curt Schilling will get on the ballot. Number two, Scott Rowland. He's on the 5th year of his ballot run. He received 52.9% of votes last year. I don't know if he gets in this year, but he is receiving a vote from me. 281 batting average with 316 home runs, 2,077 hits, and an excellent fielder at third base. Number three, Omar Vizquel. He is also on the 5th year of his ballot run, and he received 49.1% of votes. I don't know if he'll get in this year, but he had a 272 batting average and 2,877 hits to go along with a great fielder at second base throughout the entirety of his career. Number four, Jeff Kent. He's on the 9th year for his ballot run, and he received 32.4% of votes. I really hope that he takes a jump up this year by voters, as he only has this year and next year to get in. But Jeff Kent had a career batting average of 290, and he also hit 377 home runs while playing second base with almost 2,500 hits. I really do believe that Jeff Kent deserves a serious discussion about his Hall of Fame inductee status. Like I said, I don't know if he gets in this year, but he would receive a vote from me. Number five, Todd Helton. One of my favorite players growing up, because he was an excellent defensive first baseman, but I am not being biased here. Along with his excellent defensive prowess at first base, he is on the 4th year of his ballot run, receiving 44.9% of votes last year. I could see a giant step up for Todd Helton, as he sported a 316 career batting average to go along with 369 home runs and just over 2,500 hits, with 2,519 to be exact. A well-rounded hitter to go along with great defensive abilities over at first base. I do believe he deserves a lot more love than just 45% of votes. Number six, Billy Wagner. One of the only pitchers that I am voting for along with Curt Schilling. Billy Wagner's on the 7th year of his ballot run, as he received 46.4% of votes last year. He sported a career 2.31 ERA over his 16 years in the big leagues, with 47 wins, 40 losses, and 422 saves. I really do believe that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, because finding great relievers nowadays is a struggle, and he was one of the premier closers in our game for a long period of time. I don't know if he gets in this year. I really do think that he should. That is why I'm going to vote for him. Number seven, this is an interesting one because I'm thinking very defensively here, and that is Tory Hunter. He's on the 2nd year of his ballot run, and he only received 9.5% of votes last year. He sported a career .277 batting average while hitting 353 home runs, and he was just shy of 2,500 hits with 2,452. But he has a million gold gloves in center field, and as he got older, he still continued to play great defense over in right field toward the twilight end of his career. Someone that made countless all-star appearances, someone that was a premier defender in center field for a decade, really deserves to have a serious conversation about his election status. Does he get in this year? I highly doubt it, but this is someone that I could see take a giant step up in terms of vote percentage from maybe 9.5 to maybe 35-40, as that would be a great jump. Come year 3, year 4, he's going to get closer and closer to getting into the Hall of Fame. And the last player that I'm voting for, the 8th player that I'm voting for, every person that has a vote, all 300 people, I believe it is, they can vote up to 10 people. Now, they can vote for all 10, or they can only use some of their votes. A person can vote for nobody if they want to. One person, 2 players, doesn't matter. I'm electing to vote for 8 players in this video, and the 8th player that I'm voting for on my ballot is David Ortiz, who's on the first year of his ballot run. This is a very controversial pick because of the PED positive testing that he endured in 2003. And to clear the air, I say this for the very end because I know it's controversial. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Gary Sheffield, Andy Pettitte, Sammy Sosa, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez do not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for their alleged PED and steroid usage. Now, David Ortiz, I do believe, is a different case. David Ortiz was prescribed from a trainer in 2003 a supplement, a nutritional supplement. David Ortiz took it as prescribed by his medical personnel, and then later on that year, he is testing positive for PED. Now, he did not deliberately take steroids or performance-enhancing drugs. He was prescribed by a medical doctor, and he only took it that one time. I do not believe that is his fault, nor should that go against him. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, all the guys that I named deliberately took steroids and or performance-enhancing drugs. Some of them have paid the consequences. Some of them have not. Barry Bonds is probably the biggest culprit along with Roger Clemens. They're both in their 10th year on the ballot, just shy of 62%. I do not think those players should be in. Now, I do recognize that there are players in the Hall of Fame that did take steroids and or performance-enhancing drugs, and I strongly believe that they should be removed from the Hall of Fame because the Hall of Fame should be a very pure and a very monumental, prestigious life award induction, and it should only be meant for the best of the best that played the game of baseball whenever they did for however long that they did. If you go out and cheat deliberately to get the upper hand in the game, you are spoiling and you are making the game dirty, which has no place at all in my perspective. Like I mentioned, David Ortiz took these nutritional supplements one time from a doctor, and then he gets tested positive, which I do not believe is his fault. He never again took them. That is why I believe David Ortiz is in a separate case. So with that being said, David Ortiz life career stats, he hit 286 for his batting average. He had 541 career home runs, 2,472 hits, and 1,768 RBIs. Those are the 8 players that I am putting on my ballot if I had a vote in the 2022 Major League Baseball Hall of Fame ballot. Curt Schilling, Scott Rowland, Omar Vizquel, Jeff Kent, Todd Helton, Billy Wagner, Tory Hunter, and David Ortiz. But that is going to do it for this video. I really appreciate you clicking on the video, and if you did enjoy, please smash the thumbs up button. If you did, please subscribe to the channel if you're new or have not considered subscribing. But also leave your comments and thoughts down below in the comment section of this video. I'd love to hear who would you put on the ballot if you agree or disagree with my 8 players that I would vote for. And let's start a discussion, a conversation, or even a debate. But that's going to do it for this one. I will catch you in the next one. But between now and then, you guys know that I love you, and I will always see you.